we had a comment or two for you in there. So go take a look at those two if you don't mind, Marty. All right. Next up, we have Jaclyn Aker Garland. Her talk is titled Frame of Mind, How Photography Has Been My Journey to Healing. All right, Jaclyn, you looking good? You ready to go?
Yep, everybody can see
Awesome.
it.
Everybody see
All
it? Yep,
right.
you're
Cool.
good to go.
All right. Thanks for having me be a part of the attendee takeover. I appreciate it. This is a story of how and why photography is a necessity in my life. Just out of curiosity, give me a thumbs up. Does anyone feel guilty about doing photography and the time it can take away from the people in your life? All right. I've always had imposter syndrome about photography, as well as a deep guilty feeling as though I'm wasting time with my family by going out and shooting when everyone is home. Does this resonate with anyone? We were asked this twice a day at the mental health facility I went to. I'll tell you more about it later. My name is Jaclyn Aker Garland. I'm often referred to as Chicago Photo Model. My feeling is I'm feeling excited and nervous. My goal is to motivate others through my presentation to give up any guilt about doing photography and find ways to express their emotions through photography. Greatest form of suffering. This can be either in magnitude or your greatest opportunity for growth. My greatest form of suffering is feeling uncertain and embarrassed about my attendee takeover presentation, and it's a great opportunity for growth. This week last year, I was spending the winter in Florida with my family. I sat by the ocean and uncontrollably cried as I watched the waves. I'm sure most people escaping the brutal Chicago winter would be crying tears of joy, but for me, it was different. I was 4 months into sleepless nights with a baby and two toddlers, and I hadn't had my bipolar medication in 13 months, avoiding it for pregnancy and breastfeeding. Despite having more help than ever before, thanks to no care, I was still struggling. The postpartum depression hit hard. So I took my psychiatrist's advice and I checked myself into a mental health facility that day. I knew exercise and medication were essential for my well being, but during those 3 weeks, I had an epiphany. Creativity wasn't just a luxury or a guilty pleasure, it was a necessity for my healing. During the time away from my family, I started writing my first book, Happy Thoughts and Fuzzy Bunnies. It's not a masterpiece, but the process of creating it gave me confidence and pride in ways I hadn't expected. I didn't write it to sell it. I wrote it purely to give me joy and to be able to read it to my children. I had just returned from the partial hospitalization program at Sylvia Brackman Mental Health Center and started to do photography as a way to express myself and to be complete and to complete the assignments given to us to increase our self-actualization for their intensive outpatient program. Creativity and photography has always been a part of my life. I've been documenting the world with my camera since I was 5. However, this is the beginning of using photography not just as a hobby, but as a vital tool for self-expression. I created a terrible photo of a hero battling something that might seem ridiculous to others, a flamingo, but for me, it represented the inner battles that I felt as a highly sensitive person, often invalidated by myself and others. I came back to Chicago, and 3 months later, I received a call that my father had suffered a serious stroke. I rushed to be with him. By the time I arrived, we shared a brief moment where it felt like he recognized me and my baby. But by Sunday, he was gone. This event prompted me to write my second book, I Need to Tell You Something Sad, as a way to explain to my children that their grandfather had passed. My father was a hobbyist photographer, and it's because of him that I've always loved photography. When I returned to my childhood home, I discovered his Super 8 camera, 35 millimeter camera, slides, and even his enlargers. That same day, I found a gift card that he had never used with just enough money to take a class from chicagophotoclasses.com. It felt like a sign, so I registered immediately. I missed the first class, but I was determined to start right away. I began with photo 2, then moved on to classes in portraiture, macro photography, and beyond. While I still have a long way to go, my photography has improved significantly, and more importantly, it has given me an outlet to express my feelings and my creativity. Just like picking up my camera, I've learned that it's never too late to start something that truly resonates with you. It's never too late to invest in your well-being, your creativity, and your heart. The biggest hurdle I faced wasn't the camera. It was believing I deserved to pursue something that brought me joy. It's easy to let doubt take the driver's seat, but the truth is, taking that first step, no matter how uncertain you feel, can be the key to unlocking your true potential. What may seem like a hobby to some can be a lifeline to others. Photography has given me a way to express emotions I couldn't put into words. Viktor Frankl, a man who found purpose in the darkest of times, once said, "Creativity is the essence of human freedom. It allows us to find expression and joy even in adversity." Taking time for yourself, especially when life feels overwhelming, isn't selfish. It's essential for your well being and your ability to show up for those that you love. We often feel guilty for investing in things that bring us joy. But I've learned that my creativity is a cornerstone of my mental health and it deserves to be nurtured. So thank you for listening. And if you or someone you know needs help or resources for mental health, reach out to these lovely organizations. And if you're interested in following my photography journey, you can do that on Instagram at Chicago Photo Mom. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaclyn. Yeah, there's a lot of comments, a lot of hugs, a lot of thank yous. Your vulnerability is courageous, and I think we all feel that right now. And I just want to thank you for talking about this. This is such an important topic, and you being able to do that is going to make a difference in people's lives. We're all here talking about pictures. You're talking about living, and that's really pretty special. So thank you. The other thing I want to say is that anybody who didn't raise their hand when they say they suffer from imposter syndrome is lying, because we all do. So you're just the only one who wants to say it out loud. So thank you, Jaclyn. If you have any questions for Jaclyn, please put them in the Q&A or maybe send her a private message via Instagram. Yeah, just a wonderful talk. So please take some time to see the comments that were written. Okay, just one last thing before we turn it over to Willie. If any of you, any of the